I've been coaching since probably JC already, because when I started the track team in CJ, there was no official team, which meant there was no coach. Yeah, so it all started from there when I started to put together a team, try to figure out, what do each of the disciplines do. And then of course a year later, a teacher in charge came by. And then when I went to the army, same thing happens. You get to run in the commando team. Then being the faster runner, they will turn to you and, so what do we do? And then you have to try to put together training programs with limited knowledge. But the thing that really spurred me on to pick up coaching was in 2008 actually. Since 2005, I had officially taken over as one of the coaches for the Commando Half Marathon team. But when it came to 2008, after having almost 3 years of a championship title, suddenly one of my bosses turned around and said, "Hey Fabian, this year you've got to let go of the position. There's someone else who will be head coach." So when you say there's someone else, I would expect someone else better than me. And that was hard to comprehend because who's better than me in running in commando? Okay, a bit thick skin, but at that point I was like, who on earth could be better than me? And then they pointed to this Ironman and said, he just completed his NCAP level 1, so he's more certified than you. I'm like, one piece of paper, and I produced 3 years worth of championship titles. That was really a slap in the face because as a guy who felt that, I'm always going to be judged because of my capabilities, on what I can deliver. I will not be judged by my paper qualifications, and that really came as a slap in the face. So what I did was I took about 6 months time. I flew up to Australia, I got myself registered in the coaching courses, and that's where my re-education started, And yeah, I wasn't a very high-profile student in terms of academics in my earlier years, but when it came to coaching, that was a whole different spectrum altogether. And that really ignited the interest. And from then onwards, I haven't stopped learning about coaching. Every day there's something else to learn. And of course, when I ended my military career 12 years later, coaching was that it's a calling, that you are there for a reason, and it's where passion meets the rest of your life, And eventually, when I started my own coaching company, and ever since we've been trying to grow with it. Yeah. Okay, for every component of coaching, right? I'm probably part of the breed of coaches who believes in trying it out ourselves first. A lot of coaches learn based on experience. Yeah, you study the theory and then you have your whole set of guinea pigs whom you test on, and then hopefully you evolve from there. But for me personally, it's about testing it out myself because I'm probably a very kinesthetic person. I need to do it physically before I understand the movements involved. And teaching any discipline, the technicalities of it is easy to pick up. You can read about it, you can try to understand it. But when you start to execute it, therein lies the difficulties where you realize what's missing in order to create that movement, in order to get the result that you want. Like throwing a shot, easy, I can just stand and throw. But how do I get the shot further? I need to get stronger. Or I need to create momentum, And then when you start asking questions, you start having to find answers, And we always want to be able to demonstrate. Yeah, there will come a stage when I'm probably 70 and if I'm still around, I won't be able to demonstrate. But at that stage, I must be able to verbally explain already. But when you're a young coach, I believe your athletes would probably look up to you better if you can actually do the demonstration and show it to them. And they relate much better from you, rather than standing on the sidelines and shouting instructions and no one comprehends what on earth you want. But the moment you can show and tell, the coaching experience is very different. And also that keeps the coach on edge because he knows that you can't expect your athlete to do something that you can't most of the time. Before you open your mouth and demand, you make sure you can do it yourself. This is a very military mentality. This is something I picked up being in commandos for 12 years. So we make sure we can do it before we expect it of others. We might not be high-level technicians, but as a coach, you must be able to at least show that much that the athlete can pick it up. Yeah. Okay, when we talk about coaching philosophy, there'll be loads of it along the way, but the one most key one that stands out will be to give everyone an opportunity in life. To me, I always believe I won't be here if someone else didn't give me the opportunity to learn. Like my mentors in Australia or US, if they didn't allow me to learn, I wouldn't be here. If athletes didn't give me the opportunity to coach them, I won't be here. I can only be a good coach when I've got good material to work with. Yeah. So likewise, if anyone comes knocking on my doors, we don't turn them down, regardless of how good, how bad, whatever their background is. To me, we always believe, give the child an opportunity or the athlete an opportunity, and then we decide after that what happens. Because things can unfold along the way. Some will stay with you, some will leave, some want to give up. But that's subsidiary issues that happens along the way. Right at the start, we always believe, give everyone that opportunity to prove their worth. For coaches in general, would definitely be their income stability. But for me, personally, my biggest challenge is handling this whole emotional roller coaster ride with athletes. Coaches can only be good coaches when the athlete is synced with you. When you have that bond built, the athlete is willing to do anything and everything for you, and that's where you get the best out of the athlete. For this whole synergy to take place, you need to really bond with the athlete on a different level. And I guess to me, the most painful thing till today is after I create all this bond and the athlete has to leave for whatever reasons. It could be maybe I can't provide anymore, I'm not good enough, or someone else is better, or someone else is sponsoring you and they leave, or parents want someone else. There are 10,001 reasons, but the end of the day for me, I guess my weak spot is I still find it very hard to handle that detachment. It's like having a heartbreak every single time. Although I had like 10,000 heartbreaks, but I still never get used to it. It's very painful every single time when an athlete wants to leave, or you see another coach trying to come and pull the athlete away. And it, as much as people think that I would get stone cold and I'm used to it, I can have the front, but it's quite painful behind. When you really groom an athlete up and you see him or her develop, and then when they leave, it's like losing a child, losing someone very dear. And that is something that I can't still digest till today. Yeah, I know we've got all these other issues about stability of income, we've got no insurance coverage, we've got no CPF, we don't have this, we don't have that, there's no support. But to me, all those things can still be answered. But this emotional drawback that I have, probably I'm just weak, but this is one part of me that I guess is my greatest weakness. It's my greatest strength, but it also turns around to be my greatest weakness as well till today.